My name is Tatiana. I'm in group 3, and today we're going to be talking about sociological research. Now, what is sociological research? Sociological research is used by sociologists to answer questions and to test hypotheses. What research method is used depends on the question that is being asked. The methods of sociological research are used to help sociologists study social phenomena. The methods include survey research, participant observation, controlled experiments, content analysis, historical research, and evaluation research. Each method is different from one another, but they all have one thing in common. They're trying to gain a deeper understanding of how society. For example, I could do sociological research on life as a college student and ask questions like, how is life for a college student? Are they involved within their college? Do they feel like they belong in college? Were they forced to go? Do they really just eat TV dinners and ramen noodles? There's a lot of different questions that I can ask. We can even go as far as doing sociological research on what is happening today with the coronavirus pandemic, as how it's affecting one's life, how it's impacted our society as a whole, and how it affects different people like the homeless, doctors, your next door. Now with the examples provided, all one would need is a research method to carry it out. Now, like I said before, I explained the different research methods for learning how to deal with a college student. Life as a college student, I can do participant observation. I could put myself in the shoes as a college student, since I am a college student, and I could go around and ask these certain questions. Now with the example with the coronavirus pandemic, I can do survey research and ask people these questions about how the coronavirus is impacting their daily lives. Then with all that information collected and put together, that will be our data for our sociological research.
Hi, my name is Wooten, and I'm here to tell you guys how sociological research is scientific. By definition, sociological research is the scientific means of acquiring information about various aspects of society and social behavior. Using sociological methods and systematic research within the framework of the scientific method and a scholarly interpretive perspective, sociologists have discovered workplace patterns that have transformed industries, family patterns that have enlightened family members, and education patterns that have aided structural changes in classrooms. The scientific method involves developing and testing theories about the world based on empirical evidence. The scientific method is a systematic approach to researching questions and problems through objective and accurate observations, collections, and analysis of data, direct experimentation, and replication of these procedures. Sociological topics are not reduced to right or wrong facts. In this field, results of studies tend to provide people with access to knowledge they did not have beforehand. Knowledge of other cultures, knowledge of rituals and beliefs, or knowledge of trends and attitudes. No matter what research approach they use, researchers want to maximize the study's reliability, which refers to how likely research results are to be replicated if the studies reproduce. Here is an example of how sociological research uses the scientific method. I chose this topic because it relates to young adults and adolescents.
Hey guys, it's Bianca Anderson from Group 3, and I'm here to talk to you about the differences between qualitative and quantitative research. Chapter 3, Sociological Research, is a very broad section, but the main part that I withdrew from this section was qualitative and quantitative research. The two are easily confused, so allow me to break it down for you today. Qualitative research is research that is unstructured and doesn't rely on heavy statistics. It is focused on the question being asked. When you think of qualitative research, you should always think of the truth or something that is kind of messy. It's not as organized and structured as you would want it to be, but it's more free. When working on qualitative research, you can think of things such as one-on-one interviews, focus group, record keeping, and other things that doesn't involve as much structure. Quantitative research, on the other hand, is completely different. Quantitative research is actually the completely opposite. When you think of quantitative research, you think of things that have more structure. It involves more accurate data, and when you think of this, you can think of numbers, percentages, or object-based research. It is completely different. You think of it as The proper way to do your research, to organize, to collect your data, make sure everything you're grabbing is facts. So when you're trying to figure out the difference between the two, you can always think of quantitative research having to do with the accuracy of the data, the numbers, the percentage, and qualitative research being more free and messy. Not necessarily messy, but being more free and non-structured. Quantitative research is more of taking notes and not taking notes in any specific order or not writing things down specifically. And quantitative research is breaking things down in categories, analyzing them, and making sure every detail of that research is correct.
What are some of the statistical concepts in sociology? Concept number 1, probability and likelihood. Probability is the extent to which an event is likely to occur. Likelihood is the state or fact of something's being likely. Sociologists are able to make statements based on a probability and likelihood. Probability and likelihood can be impossible, unlikely, even chance, likely, or certain. Concept number 2, percentages and rates. Percentage is the number of parts per hundred. Rates are the ratio between two related quantities in different units. The misuse of numbers can result in incorrect conclusions. Concept number 3, mean, median, and mode. Mean is the number expressing the central or typical value in a set of data. Median is denoting or relating to a value lying at the midpoint of observed values, such that there is an equal chance of falling above or below it. Mode is the value that appears most often. Concept number 4, correlation and cross-tabulation. Correlation is statistical procedures that allow sociologists to see how two or more different variables are associated. Cross-tabulation is a method to analyze the relationship between multiple variables. These examples are some of the statistical concepts in sociology.
Hi, my name is Tylynn Foreman, and I'll be going over the tools that are used in sociological researches, and then I'll be answering the question, can sociology be value-free? First, there are multiple tools and techniques that sociologists use to gather information. They use survey research, participant observation, controlled experiments, content analysis, historical research, and evaluation research. Okay, so first I'm going to start off by talking about survey research. Survey research is one of the most commonly used tools of sociological research. It consists of polls, questionnaires, and interviews. The survey questionnaire will seek data about the person that you're studying, such as income, occupation, or employment status, years of formal education, yearly income, age, race, and gender, coupled with additional information that throws light on a research question. Questionnaires are mainly distributed in large groups. They may be conducted by face-to-face, by phone, by mail, or more commonly through social media or through email. Interview questions may be open-ended or just a simple multiple choice question, although the open-ended form is more effective and gives the respondent a chance to elaborate on their answers. By the way, closed-ended questions are generally analyzed quantitatively and open-ended questions are generally analyzed qualitatively. Okay, so now we talk about participant observation. Participant observation is also known as field research. It's a way for sociologists to get out there, collect data, and study society while being able to be a part of the group that they are studying. Two roles are being played at the same time in this: a subjective participant and an objective observer. Participant observation combines subjective knowledge gained through personal involvement and objective knowledge acquired by disciplined recording of what the person saw. The subjective component supplies information that is lacking in survey data. Okay, so now I'm going to be talking about content analysis. Content analysis is a way of measuring by examining the cultural artifacts of what people see, say, write, and hear. The researcher studies not the people, but the communication that people produce as a way of creating a picture of society. Sociologists also use content analysis as an indirect way to determine how social groups are perceived. Content analysis is frequently used to measure cultural change and study different aspects of culture. The research can sometimes have no effect on a person at all being studied because the cultural artifact has already been produced. Okay, so now I want to talk about historical research. It is used to explore sociological themes over time.
It is commonly done using historical archives, such as official records, church records, town archives, private diaries, or oral history. Historical research is great with the ability to capture long-term social changes and is a perfect tool for sociologists who want to ground their studies in historical perspectives. Okay, so now I'm moving on to evolution research. Evolution research assesses the effect of policies and programs on people and society. So if the research intended to produce policy recommendations, then it's called policy research. When you do research to recommend social policy, you're doing policy research. Okay, so now we're moving on to the question, which is, can sociology be value-free? Now, most sociologists do not claim to be completely value-free, but they do try as best as they can to produce objective research.